What's up guys, it's Danny from Hip Hops. Thanks for checking out the video. Today I'm going to be taste testing On and On Part 1 by Revolution and Half Acre Brewing here in Chicago. And then I'm going to go through 4 collaboration albums in celebration of the first collaboration between Half Acre and Revolution. Alright, so first up, On and On by Revolution and Half Acre, Part 1, is an imperial rye porter aged in bourbon barrels. Comes in at 14% alcohol, which is pretty heavy, and it comes in these 16-ounce cans with these cool little mushroom doodles and then skeleton guy here. Also really like this frog guy right here in the hat, bowler hat. Alright, let's see. So I've not tasted this yet, and I've had it sitting out of the fridge for a little bit. Okay. So yeah, it's dark like a stout, but it's actually a little brown in some areas here. You get the bourbon barrel really strong in the smell, but you also get the spice from the rye, which is good. All right, so very caramelly up front. You definitely get the sweetness from the barrel, but it's not too sweet. And then it's not real bitter either. And I know that might be power of suggestion because I know in their write-up, they talked about how it wasn't gonna be as acidic or bitter as some heavy stouts that you can get. But yeah, this is it's a good beer. It's got chocolatey, but you do get this spice in the back of your tongue and like the roof of your mouth, and you can feel it. It's the aftertaste is the rye spice, and it's not hot at all. So if you have these, I wouldn't sit on them at all. It seems like it's good to drink right now. So I'll keep tasting this, seeing how it opens up a little bit as we go on. But so my first collaboration, and just some ground rules for this, I decided not to include like a producer and an MC together as a collaboration, and these all are hip hop collaborations. So there's no Mad Villainy, there's no bandana, nothing like that. I wanted to make sure it was 2 MCs at least that were collaborating together. So my first one is on Mellow Music Group record. It's Diamond District's March on Washington Redux. So Diamond District is made up of YU, Odyssey, and Uptown XO. These guys are all from the Washington, D.C., Maryland area. Odyssey, you may have heard of. He's does a lot of production and rapping. It's one of my favorite dual threats in hip hop. But this Redux album is remixes of their initial March on Washington album. So the remixes on this are done by Oh No, El Orange, Large Professor, Apollo Brown, Quelle Chris, Black Milk, Diamond D, Doppelgangers, Knots, and Skiz. And there's a bonus 45 in here that's produced by John Wayne, and then another on the other side is Paul White. So this is, it's on this colored vinyl. You can see the one side here is more black than white. If you flip around to the other side, it's more white than black, but it's a nice milky color. So this is for hip hop fans that like more old school hip hop. I mean, this is, all 3 of these guys can spit bars, they got rhymes, and the original album was produced by Odyssey. So if you haven't checked out the original, definitely check out the original as well. But one of my favorite songs off of this album in particular is the remix done by El Orange, which is track number 2 called The Backup. I definitely suggest, they all also have solo projects out, mostly on Mellow Music, but definitely give these guys check these guys out. So number 2 collaboration. This one is actually 2 producers together. So I didn't want to, like I said, do a rapper and a producer, but 2 producers, I made an exception. So this is Handsome Boy Modeling School's debut album, Hey, How's Your Girl? And then you can see Handsome Boy Modeling School is Prince Paul of De La Soul fame. And then on the back here, you got Dan the Automator, which is from, Deltron 3030. If you watched my last video, I mentioned him. He also did stuff with the Gorillas, but they've both done a lot of stuff. This is on Tommy Boy Records. It's just on black vinyl, so nothing too exciting. This is the original copy though. But this one, it's got a lot of features in it, but my favorite tracks on this, I would say, are Magnetizing, featuring Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Dancing over beats, romancing microphones with my glorious speech. No shorts like BBD, I'm next like DVD. I hit the Metropolitan with music, I'll be modeling.
My second favorite track, I would say, is Once Again by featuring Grand Poobah and Sadat X. And they're both from Brand Nubian. So.
Get about my way as Grand Poo's turn to shine. Heard them C's ride the pine and get paid, no, never mind. One time as I sew it up like Dr. Frankenstein. Chickens ride the pony cause the rhyme flow genuine. As I do it like that, do it like this.
So they came out with a second album called White People. And that one I actually just posted on Instagram like a week ago. So that's a fairly fresh post for me, but definitely album to check out if you enjoy hip hop. And they have themes going throughout the Handsome Boy Modeling School. It stems from a early 90s TV skit show, and I'm blanking on what it's called right now, but they both loved the skits and the actor, and they decided to do a concept album based on it. So you have little, as Prince Paul is famous for, little skits throughout the album, and it's definitely a good listen. So going back to the beer here, I haven't given it a lot of time to open up or anything, and I was trying to make this a quicker video than the last one. But this is definitely a solid beer, even if it's a 16-ounce can and it's 14%, which is going to be dangerous with this. I'll definitely be able to finish this whole thing. This isn't something that you have to share with friends, but sharing is always great with craft beer. So my number 3 collaboration, and this is on Delicious Vinyl. It's Yancey Boys Sunset Boulevard. Yancey Boys are made up of Illa J, which, here he is here, and Frank Nitt. Illa J, if you don't know, is the younger brother of J Dilla, who did all of the beats on this tape. So here they have him symbolized sitting on the moon here, holding the LP in his hand. This is, like I said, both Detroit MCs rapping over J Dilla beats. They're both, they have, they're good wordplay, they're fun rhymes. If you know Illa J and Frank Nitt, they know how to have a good time, and that's what this album is. It's not a club album per se, but it's definitely not straight backpack rap. I also like the back here. You have Frank Nitt climbing up the building. You have Illa J sort of looking up and saluting his brother here, who's in the UFO. And there's a whole thing. I can't remember what album it's on right now, but they have a discussion about how Frank Nitt is talking about how the whole Yancey family are aliens, and they have special abilities because of that. And this one, it's on black vinyl, nothing too fancy. You got Frank Nitt climbing up the building here on the inner sleeve. And then my number 4 collaboration. This is also on Mellow Music Group, which I'm a big fan of Mellow Music Group. A lot of the hip hop they put out is real quality. If you're not familiar with them, you can give them a follow on Instagram, check them out. they're always putting out albums from, I mean, Quelle Chris, Alorange, most of his stuff is on there. Odyssey, like I mentioned. Knots has some stuff on there. There's albums with rapper Big Pooh from Little Brother. They're chock full of a solid lineup of rappers, producers, everything. So this is Ugly Heroes, and the name of the album is Ugly Heroes EP. So the Ugly Heroes are made up of Verbal Kent, who's a rapper. You have Chris Oric, who's a rapper who, at the time of this album, when it was released, went by Red Pill. He changed his name to his real legal name because Red Pill became associated with, you know, right-wing type stuff. So he, awesomely, he stepped back and he said, that's not something that I want people to think I'm associated with, and changed his name to his real name. In the middle here is Apollo Brown. Apollo Brown, amazing hip-hop producer. He's another one who has a ton of stuff out on Mellow Music. And together, they're Ugly Heroes. We have Verbal Kent here, who is from Chicago. He grew up, I believe he grew up in Roscoe Village area. He now, along with rapping, he runs a chain of coffee shops and cafes. So if you're in Chicago and if you've ever heard of Dollop Coffee, definitely try to support them. Their ownership, obviously, he's a good guy. He does a lot for the communities. He has coffee shops downtown in the Loop. He has the cafes up in Andersonville area. But the other two here are from Detroit, which you can see Apollo Brown's Tigers cap there. But this is a very solid album. And if you're not familiar with Ugly Heroes or the individuals that make them up, I mean, this is just on black vinyl, but you can see it's just on these, like, the khaki label there. If you're not familiar, Chris Oric is an amazing rapper, and he's got all kinds of lines and metaphors, and Verbal Kent is a little more, I would describe him as a rougher rapper. And I mean that in a good way. He's got a sort of grizzled voice, and he's got an aggressive style. So if you're into some of that stuff, I mean, I'd say like a Moral Technique type of thing, where it's more of a aggressive, in your face type of rapper. Check this out. Some of my favorite tracks are Naysayers and Playmakers.
You think I'm worried about a list? Getting pervy with my shit, eating curry with the fish. So trust me when I say the naysayers ain't the playmakers. I don't play favorites, I don't say faces. I'm not the one to play games when I play aces. I'm the person that I pay favors.
And the other one I would say is Michael and Scotty and Horace.
Irises and eyes hurt, my words resonate on sides of the mind like sideburns. Too complex to cool one next wave by through your back, but my arm through your back.
Those are my two favorite on this album, but definitely give the whole thing a listen. They do have a couple other albums out as well, and I would recommend all of them. I just picked this one because I kind of like the white label. It's easier to see their faces and everything. But again, another mellow music group, distributed by Fat Beats, so you should be familiar with them. Yeah, and this was released in 2014. I forgot to mention when they were released, they had Diamond Districts. The Redux was issued in 2015. The original was in 2014, so it was just a year after the original was released. So How's Your Girl? That was released in 1999. So that's the oldest of the albums there. The Yancey Boys album was released in 2013. So, I mean, the other thing is, as you can see, very interesting, both on Mellow Music label, but I thought it was interesting how these albums sort of mimicked each other color-wise and image-wise, which is also why I picked this Ugly Heroes. I look forward to doing more videos. I thought sort of matching up collaborations, celebrating the first collaboration between Half Acre and Revolution, two of the largest craft breweries in Chicago and probably likely in the Midwest. If you are able to try, I mean, this beer specifically, I would say, if you're able to try it, do it. But all of their stuff is great, and I know they both have a pretty large distribution channel. You may know, if you're from the Chicago area, you for sure know this, but if you're not, you may see Daisy Cutter from Half Acre, which is a really awesome pale ale with nice citrus notes on it. And in Revolution, they're famous for their Anti-Hero, which is like a old school bitter IPA, which is hard to find these days. Not that beer is hard to find, but that style is hard to find from a lot of breweries. So definitely give them a try. Check them out. If you're in the area, right now, obviously we have COVID, so things are a little shut down right now, but they have 2 locations. Actually, both of these breweries have 2 locations now that I think about it. They both have a tap room and brewery, and Half Acres is on Lincoln in the sort of Ravenswood area, I guess I would call it. And then they, on Balmoral, up closer to, in Bowmanville, closer to Andersonville, they have their brew pub where they have amazing food also. Revolution has a brewery and tap room, which is where they have the pickups, and that's on Milwaukee. That's where they have the pickups for most of their releases. And they currently have the brew pub. The brew pub's on Milwaukee, sorry. And the brew pub also has amazing food, and like I said, they're 2 of the longest standing craft breweries and largest in the Chicago area. And I probably rambled on long enough. If you have any other ideas, or if you want other tastings, if you want to see these tastings go a different way, definitely let me know. But this is a solid beer. I've had this, and I also opened the apple brandy that they just released the other night. And if I had to pick between the 2, they're very different. The apple brandy is a little sweeter, and the apple was prevalent for me. I've seen some people say they couldn't really get the apple, so I don't know if it's can to can. I haven't tried another can yet, but anyways, thanks for checking this out, and I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. I'll leave the link in the description below. I appreciate it. Thanks.